All right. Here we are sitting here talking about economic collapse and, oh, Putin's out of control and we're going to be taught a lesson beyond your wildest understanding. And let's throw this on top in a 5-minute period. Let's have a constitutional convention. If I'm not mistaken, Mark, you are part of the citizens' action. There's legislators that are trying to do this.
Correct.
That's the political side of it, and they have 34 already? 32?
Roughly 30 states
30.
and over 100 state legislators met at Mount Vernon in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, so is it serious in 30 states, or is it just the beginning of it?
I actually think it's serious all across the country, and these guys, what they're doing is setting forth the rules for a potential amending convention.
And your role here is separate from theirs, and you're saying, I just want to get the word out to the American people, because the American people this will make sense to.
Right.
Let's quickly just talk about, this is not a trick of the Constitution. This wasn't put there for any other reason. This was, they knew it was going to fall apart. They knew politicians well enough, and this is the escape hatch. This is the last lever, right?
Well, I think you said, break glass in case of emergency and use Article 5.
Right.
It was put in the Constitution specifically at the end of the convention. And there was a debate, and George Mason stood to say it was outrageous that the way it had been proposed was that only Congress itself could propose amending the Constitution. And he said something to the effect that, are we so crazy to believe that a government once tyrannical would propose amendments to restrain its own tyranny?
Right.
Of course they wouldn't.
Right.
And so he said, and very strongly, thank God, that the people had to have the power to do this. And the only way to give the people the power is to give the states the power.
Well, I will tell you that I talked to 2 senators. I mean, I can say it because it's not hard to figure out. It's Mike Lee and Ted Cruz. And they said the most important thing you can do is restrain our power, term limits. And I said, everybody's for it. And they said, oh, no. No one in this town is. And that's exactly why they put Article 5 there, because they're never going to give us term limits.
No.
But we can. So explain quickly how this works.
Sure. The way it works is under Article 5, the states, via the state legislatures, have the right to call for an amending convention. And it's important we get our language right. It's not a constitutional convention. This is not a convention.
Not opening the whole thing
Does not open the whole Constitution.
Okay.
This is an untruth that is stated by those people that are against it. It's not a constitutional convention. It is an amending convention which must take place under the rubric of the Constitution itself. And the way it happens is 34 states issue a call for a convention. And they request that Congress do their ministerial duty and just say the time and place of the call once we get 34 states to issue that call. We're organizing to do that. Our role is to organize the citizenry. My background is in the Tea Party movement, and so we know how to organize. We have citizens in every state, and we're organizing literally at the state legislative level in all 50 states right now.
Okay. What is the tripwire? What's going to, when do you think this could happen? What has to happen to get there?
Well, so like I said, it takes 34 states. So what happens is a piece of legislation has to be entered onto the floor of every state legislature. We right now have primary sponsors in 13 states. It's been pre-filed in 3 states already for the 2014 session.
Who are the states?
Florida, Virginia, and South Carolina.
Where's Texas?
Texas isn't there yet, but we're getting close.
Okay.
We'll get it done in Texas.
Okay.
And so what we expect is somewhere between 15 and 20 states will pass this in 2014. We expect to finish off to 34 in 2015, and the goal is to hold the convention in 2016. Great year, presidential year, and the purpose of the convention is limited to the call, which is to limit the scope, power, and jurisdiction of the federal government. That's a debate we should be having.
Right,
during a
and that's what
presidential
I
year.
want to. And that's what I want to go to is the people who want to. And I used to believe this.
Right.
But I think we're in a different situation now than we were in 2000 or 2001. We are in the pull the chute, man. Pull the chute, or we're all going to die. But it cannot. We're not going to have some communist. We're all not going to all of a sudden. What are they calling it? Min wage? What are they calling that thing now? They're talking about. Did you hear about this? Is it min wage? It's something where it's a minimum. Not a minimum wage, it's a minimum income. Everyone will be paid a minimum income, whether you work or not. Everybody gets it. That's crazy talk. But that's not the kind of stuff that we're going to have snuck in.
Well, it can't happen. First of all, the premise of a runaway convention is a faulty premise historically. And those who propose it are essentially defaming the Constitution and the founders because they allege that the original convention was a runaway convention. But if you read the history, and it's all on our website at conventionofstates.com, they were all within their authority in proposing the amendments that they proposed. They had the authority to reform the articles in whatever way it took to create a new constitution that the federal government could operate under.
All right. Is all the information on what citizens should do on the website?
Absolutely. What they should do is become a district captain in their state legislative district, just a volunteer or a state captain.
Okay.
Everything is there.
Give me the website again. There it is, conventionofstates.com.
That's it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you again. Thanks. Back in just